I'm Megan Skidmore. For 2.5 years, I have been talking about evolving faith journeys. I started to tire of the heaviness of this focus. I had the clear message come through. It is time for Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast to evolve into Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast. With the same vulnerability and unapologetic authenticity, I will be focusing on the joy in this journey, the life and the living that comes on the other side of maybe, on the other side of what's possible. I want to talk about claiming spiritual sovereignty and becoming your own captain of your vessel. Let's celebrate releasing what no longer aligns for you and connecting with your higher power and honor expanding your energy field to make room for all things new. The vibration is high this month on Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast. Pretense is dropped and caution thrown to the wind in each interview. I'm dropping a new episode daily, spotlighting one of the amazing, soul-led, heart-centered authors of Joan of Arc Publishing, or JOA Publishing, founded by Kira Brinton. Like the namesake for this publishing house, each one embodies the fearless, God-centered spirit left by the legacy of Joan of Arc. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single one. Well, hey, Katie Jo, how are you today?
Good, thank you.
I'm so excited to have your undivided attention for about the next 35 minutes.
Here we go.
I'm loving getting to know you a little bit better. And I'm so appreciative that you jumped on board to be a part of this month-long JOA book club to share with us more about your journey and who you are, the books that you have written, are writing, will write, and just kind of your association with JOA Collective and Mosaic Network. So welcome. Thanks for taking time.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's just start out with you taking some time to introduce yourself to everybody and share with us your background, who you are, what you do, your family, faith, all of that.
So, my name is Katie Jo, and I am a 3-time best-selling author. I am an international public speaker, and I am a professional artist. I am most well known for being called the Drum Circle Goddess. I have done drum circles across the globe, and I teach a 9-month comprehensive shamanic course, as well as sound healing training. And my drum circles have been as large as 10,000 live, broadcast to 106 nations.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Girl, I did not know this. I'm so glad I'm doing these interviews. Wow. Okay, we're going to dive a little deeper here. You've written books already.
I've written and co-written 4 books. Yes. Mm-hmm. My passion project is the one that when we met at the JOA that I really discussed. It's called The Untold Stories of Motherhood.
Okay.
And it's gathering women's stories of what it's like to be mothers and our experiences, and really just sharing the voice of, in many ways, the voiceless. And that really comes off of the statistic of that currently in the United States and the Western world, 85% of books, media, journalism, movies, sitcoms, everything is written by males, particularly cisgendered patriarchal males, white men usually. And that's a really fair statistic compared to all of history, which is closer to 99%. So the reason that I feel like it's important to start sharing stories of what it's like to be a woman, what it's like to be a mother, especially, is because everything that we've been told or taught and everything that's been portrayed or conditioned us as to what a woman and mother is has been fed to us by those who have never been. So it would be as if every book that's ever been written on flying a plane wasn't written by pilots. And so it matters because those archetypes, if you will, that have been projected onto the psyche as to what this is or should feel like, it's damaging to all genders.
It is.
when half of the population isn't able to say this is what it's really like. So it's a really, even now with the statistics being 85%, that's better than it's been. But it's time that everyone, whoever they are, wherever they stand, whatever platform they are on, meaning this is what it's like to be me. Don't you speak for me, I'll speak for me,
That is
has the
powerful.
ability to do so. So that's really what I would say my passion project is.
So you said this is a compilation of stories, so it's going to come
Mhm.
from multiple
So we
voices.
had an anthology, and it was really phenomenal stories of women who are mothers who have experienced things like child loss, like miscarriage, like kids on drugs, like
Mhm.
being parents to special needs children, military moms, postpartum stories, what it's like to not have children in a community, predominantly Utah, where so much identity of whether or not you are a woman is based on whether or not you have children. So it was a
True.
really powerful book, and it's really powerful stories, because it's important that beyond what we see portrayed on the Instagram reels and feeds and influencer feeds about what being a woman and a mother is being said, this is how it felt for me.
Hmm.
This is what it was like for me. So,
So,
and it's been one of the coolest stories is this woman who was in the book who gave her daughter up for adoption as a
mhm.
teenager, and then never could have guessed that she would never be able to have children after. How could she have possibly known?
Oh my
And
goodness.
so she wrote that story of what that journey is. And she's, I think, in her 50s now. They connected. And that's a beautiful miracle from that
Wow.
story where she and her birth daughter connected and they have a relationship now. Another story that came from that, which is so tremendous, it's one of my favorite stories in the
Mhm.
books, is a woman who wrote the story of what it's like. She was in quite a horrific, even awfully horrific, abusive childhood,
Mhm.
much of it perpetuated by her mother. And it's in the book, so I don't feel like I'm sharing secrets or anything, but she's not got full hearing and scars
Mhm.
and things like that because of beatings. And so she tells what's that like to heal the mother wound as growing up, to try to heal this mother wound as the abused child. And what's so pivotal in that story, which I feel is just amazing, is at the mother's end of her life. She was bedridden, and so this daughter took her into her own home and care took her for the last 2 years of her life.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's just some of these stories are just mind boggling and powerful. So, yeah.
So when you say this is your passion project, is this still in the works or this is completed and
So,
done
we
and
have two
published?
versions of the books published. So,
Okay.
and it's meant to be a passion project, meaning it was always meant to be continual, because
Wow.
it's important that, I mean, I can't remember whether it's 20 authors or so that are in that book,
Is
but
this something that JOA puts out?
before JOA was JOA, when it was under
Mhm.
another name, it was one of their first books published.
I
And
think I
so,
saw it.
yeah, the book that I have published, I am the artist. I did all of the artwork in the book, and the publisher CEO, Kiera, is actually the image on the front. The sketch is an image of Kiera hugging her child.
Oh,
So it's a pretty special book.
well, if there is a third edition in the works or ever down the
Mhm.
pipeline, I would love to be a part of it as a voice of a mother of a transgender child. I think that is
Absolutely.
a voice that
It's
it's
an
it's very
important voice to
misunderstood
have.
and everybody tries to speak on behalf of that marginalized group. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
and you know what? Every part of that group is also individual, because we
yeah.
can't stereotype any human into just because of this, whether you're trans or whether you're whatever you are. It's never okay to say this is what trans people think and feel, because it's always individual.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. What a beautiful project. Thanks for sharing that with us. So, uh, wow, you have quite the spiritual resume.
I don't know about that.
Well, I don't know what else to call it. Can you share a little bit more about your your faith, your spiritual journey? You have a lot of things that you're involved in, that you do, that you practice.
Mhm.
Is that something that was passed down to you from your
No,
forebears? Yeah, I'd love to hear more about how you got to where you're at today.
I am born and raised in Utah, and the
Mhm,
predominant religion here is the Latter-day Saint religion, most
mhm,
often known as Mormons.
mhm,
So I was raised in the Mormon faith. I am really lucky and really blessed that my parents were true blue BYU Mormons, meaning as I've done so much work as an adult working with adults coming through traumas,
mhm,
I've heard so many stories of things that have happened behind closed doors in my community. And when I say I'm really lucky that my parents are who they walked and talked what they believed. Now, as an adult, there's some of those beliefs that I don't align with. And so it's not my faith now, but it's not in a
mhm,
place of judgment or dishonoring. I'm really lucky that they believed you should read your scriptures every single morning. So they did. They believed you should help the widows in the ward. So we did. They believed that you should always tell the truth, eat clean, say prayer, have
mhm,
family time. So that's what we did. So I am one of the lucky ones where they didn't just say they believed something, they lived it. So that's
mhm.
my history and my background.
Fascinating. Yeah, I know about those things that happen behind closed doors.
Mhm.
So tell me, share with us a little bit about how that was your faith of origin. That's what you were taught, you were raised on.
Mhm.
How did you find drum circling? How did you
Mhm.
become a shaman? How did all of these things that you now practice, how did that become a part of you?
Well, I guess I'll share it in the most clear and honest way.
Yeah.
One of the best things about that reality of my parents living what they believe was teaching me to live what I believe,
Mm,
even if it meant that I don't believe that. And so for me, there were things what that I don't agree with that often shows and pops up in religious cultures. And I'm not pointing this at my parents, but I am definitely saying it is in the culture that I am here in, which is the idea of a judgmental God, the idea of a patriarchal
mm,
God, the idea
mhm,
of a vengeful God or a wrathful God. And a lot of the teachings are fear based and
mhm.
perfection
Yeah.
based. You need to be perfect or you're not going to make it to heaven.
Yeah.
You got to be perfect or you're not going to see your family in heaven. You got to be perfect or you can't go to your kid's wedding day. Things like that, that to be blunt, I don't know any other religion on the planet that says they're all about family and separates family in so many ways. So that's my bluntness
Mhm,
with it. But
mhm,
as a teenager, I don't know that I had my head wrapped around it right then because I certainly don't want to ever say anybody shouldn't be part of a faith that it aligns with them and their truth
mhm,
because we all
mhm,
have that luxury and we all have that right. But I was a rascally teenager, and I don't think that I was bad, and I don't think that I was a bad kid, but I think that I was really free-spirited, quite
mhm,
stubborn, quite curious. And it was often misinterpreted as being mischievous or being naughty,
mhm,
but I think I was just really curious. And I remember my perception is just getting in trouble a lot for things where I wasn't even trying to be doing something wrong, but it was just this standard of trying to be perfect. And I
mhm,
remember feeling life was it was really futile. Like I'll never be good enough. I'll never be perfect enough. I can never make it. I remember that mentality of just trying so hard and going, man, I just fall short all the time.
yeah.
And I don't think that's just an LDS thing. I think that that is something that shows up in a lot of religious cultures. But that's how I felt. That's how I interpret it. It's not anybody else's fault. It's just that's my interpretation. And with that idea of that I'm going to fail or I am failing, I ended up making some pretty major mistakes. And that would include even becoming a pregnant teen.
Mhm,
And one of the best things and one of the greatest gifts of that experience was when my daughter was born, knowing that I didn't want to teach this vengeful, wrathful God. And I decided, I don't know where I stand on any of this. I don't know how I feel about it, any of this, but I'm not going to tell this perfect, innocent, beautiful thing, this child, that she's anything but perfect as she is, that she needs to go through rituals or all these other things to make it back to wherever we came from, because no one knows. We all just believe, but we don't know. No, belief is not knowing. Knowing means that I was there, and no one knows what happens after you die except for the dead. And no one knows what happened before except for the dead. So we all just fight over these things, but no one knows. So when we understand it's just belief, then I can choose what beliefs to put on a platter to serve my child. And so I said, I'm just going to teach her of the God that says, I love you no matter what. So I call it the sunbeam level of God, which is there's something out there and it always cheering you on. And in the dark alleys and in the dark corners, it's shining a light for you to find your way out. And so whatever that is, whatever creator is, male or female, God or not God, universe, I don't even care the name of it. That's what God is. Unconditional love and the light at the end of the tunnel, even if you're in the middle of the tunnel. So I spent the next few years just teaching her that. And what I couldn't have foreseen is that I was laying the foundation for myself to have a structure beneath me for the tragedies to come. And when this sweet little girl was 5, almost 5, I was pregnant with my third. I was 5 months pregnant with my third when my almost 2-year-old got sick at 10 p.m. and died at 9 a.m. And when we got to the hospital and the ambulances took us in, no one knew what had happened. We didn't know what had happened. He got sick and he passed.
As part of my commitment to giving back, every first Friday of the month, I offer a free coaching hour. Anyone is welcome to join, and you may leave your camera off and change your name if you would like to remain anonymous. This is an opportunity to get introduced to my style of holistic coaching and what it would be like to work with me. Gain real skills, insight relevant to you, and fresh perspective on life circumstances. Each month is a different topic. For those attending, there will be opportunities for a complimentary one-off energy alignment session. Once registered, you will have access to discount codes for my other offerings. To get the link, including all the resources, register to complete the agreement at the link in the show notes.
And it was inconceivable that that could happen in, what is that, 11 hours?
Yeah. Wow.
And so there's still no answers. They still have no reasons why. It just was.
It just did.
And I remember when, if you've never been in that situation of an emergency, I didn't know until this happened. But when we were in, we're following the ambulance and they rush us in. And instead of rushing us into the emergency room, they took us to a side room, which I didn't know. They have a name. I don't know what these rooms are called, but it separates people from the crowd.
The main group.
And so we were put into this other room to wait. And it was my mother-in-law, my then husband, and myself. And my father-in-law had gone with our son named Jonah into the, where the doctors were taking him on the gurney. And by the time the doctor came in and Bruce came with him, I remember Bruce came walking in and it was like he was shuffling in this cute little old, he's such a sweet little older man, bald and big glasses and kind of a smaller frame. And I looked to see Bruce to see what was going on, and he wouldn't look up. And you just knew something, right? And the doctor said, he's gone. And in that moment, I left my body. And I could see the room beneath me. And I could see Bruce sitting quietly with his hands folded. And I could see my mother-in-law weeping. And I could see my then husband who had fallen on the floor and was just prostrate in shock. And then I could see the person that I recognized. I didn't even know who it was. I could see the woman who happened to be me, but I didn't even know that it was me. I just saw the woman, the mother, in this chair, and she was screaming incoherently and crazily. And at that moment, I became aware there was a being on my right, and on my right, it was a being of light. I didn't look, I just knew what it was. And I said, she's making a ruckus. And the being to my right said, she can, her baby just died. And then I remember looking over, and my mother-in-law said, Bruce, no, this isn't supposed to happen. And the being said, yes, this was always part of the plan. And then I was back into my body, screaming and in excruciating pain. So that, in many ways, was the unraveling.
Okay.
So a lot of people will talk to me about faith transition, and faith transition to me, it's kind of a vague thing to me, because I suppose I went through my faith transition then, but really it was just years and years of saying, I don't believe that I'm never going to see my son again if I'm not perfect. I don't believe that I need to do a bunch of things to see him again. And I think that foundation of the 5 years previously saying God loves you no matter what, whatever God is, there's a light at the end of the tunnel wherever you find yourself in darkness. I think that laid the groundwork, which I didn't know it was laying the groundwork. So then when that tragedy occurred, and being in a religious community where so many people started to tell me things like, well, you know where he is now, and you know what's going to happen now, and this is the way it is, and you can take comfort in this. I remember just kind of being like, you don't know. And I don't know. We can hope. And so what so like when it comes to shamanism, and like to answer your question is, shamanism, because most people think it's doing drugs, and I actually do substance free. I'm a huge advocate of substance free spirituality. And what I like about shamanism is it's the oldest spirituality on the planet, and it's not against anything. You can be a shaman and be LDS. You could be a shaman and be Catholic or be Buddhist. And you simply say, what do I know? Well, I know, like today I can look outside where I am in Utah, and I can see that it's cloudy and it's windy and it's cold. So that's what I know. I absolutely know. Well, what does being cloudy and windy and cold? It means, Katie, today, maybe you don't go out and do a million errands. Maybe everything around you is giving you permission to just rest. And those cloudy times are a time to really like blanket in over yourself and ask the questions like, what's deep within me? In shamanism, I see the sunrise in the east, and I say, it always rises in the east after the dark. What can I learn from that? Well, I can learn that the light will always rise. When it goes when it sets in the south, what can I learn from that? I learn to trust that even if it's dark, it will rise again. I learn to trust that just like on the horizon, my ancestors have gone before me, that today's the day that I live, and the day that I live is the torch that I can carry, but I will cross into that horizon too. And then I'll pass the torch to my posterity or those who are behind. And what I love about shamanism too is often when we open, meaning what others might call a prayer, we simply say, we call to you who are the nameless one, but is known by 1,000 names. And so it's just asking these questions like every other being on the planet before synthetic society was created, before manners and aristocracies came along. And we look at who tells the nightingale to sing, who tells the flocks of geese to fly, who tells the hunters to hunt or the prey to be prey. There's something bigger than all of us. It's in with all of us. And right now, every other mammal on the planet is resting except humans. Every other mammal on the planet is hunkering down with the people that they love. It's cold. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So why, when we experience all of these depressions, or we experience all this discord and war, do you see any other animal, which is nature, doing this? No. Is there a balance of checks and balances? Yes. But so much of the damage that's done to humans is by humans, and it's created by synthetic ideas and ideals. And how many wars have been fought in the name of God And so shamanism is really just the internal compass of, if I feel like I should go left, I'm going to go left. If I feel like I should go right, I will go right. And I'm always in that communication with whatever this eternal omnipresence is. And it's in constant communication with us. And
So you're
so,
using all of your senses and all of your awareness. It sounds
mhm,
like you're engaging all of it to listen, to hear, to feel, to emote, to love, and determine what is meant for you next, or where you are needed next, and what
mhm,
is your next step, and so on. You speak in prose, Katie Joe.
probably do.
I, I don't know if I'm the first person to tell you that, but I'm just listening to you and I feel like I'm listening to a book on tape or something. I mean, like an audible book. There's me showing my age right there.
I love Audible.
I am fascinated by everything that you're sharing and what's coming up for me. You said you don't know that you call this a faith transition. And I resonate with that. In the beginning, when I started to realize things weren't matching up for me, I called it a pivot
Mhm.
in my faith journey. And then that became a faith. I think I probably called it a faith transition at some points, but it became I just simply call it a spiritual awakening now. And I'm struck as I'm listening to you. What I really like about that symbolism is we wake up every day. The sun
Mhm.
rises, we wake up, our physical body wakes up, and we have that opportunity in not just our physical being, but in our spiritual and our mental and emotional being. We could literally wake up in some way every day. There's something to be learned. There's something to take in and experience in the way that only we can. And to me, it sounds like that's what
Isn't
you have embodied
isn't
since
it
you
like being a
really,
child? So if we were to go back scripturally, okay.
I think in your approach to life, for sure, being teachable, being curious, inquisitive,
Mhm.
and non-judgmental, just
Mhm.
open. Yeah.
Well, and we've shared, and I talked to you when we met each other. I have trans children, two of three, and I have this beautiful little new baby that's now 5. So my most of my children are raised. I had a surprise in my 40s, so my kids are old and out of the house. And I remember when I had my youngest is named Kalai, and he's a sweet little innocent. And I remember I would meet my older kids for dinner. I'd try to take them out at least twice. We try to meet for dinner once or twice a month. And we had gone to this restaurant, and we were in the restaurant and waiting for my kids to arrive. And here comes my trio of adult kids. And in walks my eldest son, eldest surviving son. And he comes in, and his hair is dyed purple, and he's got jingly earrings, and he's got piercings, and he's always in something that's really, really flamboyant, whatever it is. I don't even remember the time. And I watched in the restaurant in conservative Utah. I watched as my trio of kids come walking in,
Hmm.
and I watched everyone in the room turn to them and kind of go like this, really, like, "Ooh," which is normal,
Hmm.
when you see something different. And then my then 2-year-old sees them. And my then 2-year-old screams because the oldest boy named Jace, he calls himself Yaya. So my
Hmm.
2-year-old says, he jumps away from me, wrangles out of my arms, right? Wrestles out. He runs across the whole length of the restaurant and leaps into Yaya's arms, where
Hmm.
everybody in the restaurant had looked and got, oh, what the heck is this thing? Because he's 6 foot something, like he's a big guy. And so he can be intimidating and scary looking, right? And here comes this innocent 2-year-old leap into his arms. And Yaya holds him and swings him and cuddles him and gives him the biggest kisses on the sides of his face.
So
And
sweet.
I watched everyone in that restaurant laugh or smile, and it
Mm.
changed.
Yeah.
And the 2-year-old has never been taught to judge.
Yeah.
So the 2-year-old simply says, that's Yaya.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
They see
what
their
they're wearing,
soul
what they're
there.
supposed to be wearing. It's just that's Yaya. So
Yeah.
to me, shamanism is really, and shamanism is just a way to explain what the natural way of humanity once
Mm.
was. Because the first shamans had no shamans, the first prophets had no prophets. They were navigating the question of what is this? Is
Mm-hmm.
there something greater and what does it mean? And they
Yeah.
were deciding that for themselves through
And
the daily
listening
moment.
inward and
Yeah.
listening inward. I could listen to you all day. Or can you
Well, and I know
believe?
our time's up, but now
Yes,
you know a little bit more about me.
it's, I'm fascinated and enthralled. Wow, I can't wait to read more of what you've written and watch your continued journey. One question that I always like to ask my guests, and I'm just floored by all the beautiful answers that are given, and it's reflective of my title of my podcast. But my question is, what does it mean to you to live beyond the shadow of doubt?
I saw that yesterday when I saw your email. So here's the answer that I have
Okay.
for that. I've thought about it, but this is my consensus. In order to be here, we must have shadow. If we are to learn, there must be shadow. In order to be in a realm where there is duality, duality is what teaches us what the light is. There cannot be light. We cannot know light without shadow, and shadow doesn't exist without light. There's no such thing as shadow without light, but we can't understand light without shadow.
Mm,
So when I think
yes.
about beyond the shadow, I don't think beyond a shadow of doubt. I think beyond the shadow. And when I think about doubt, there's a difference between doubt and there's a difference about curiosity and questioning because I think
Mm,
we're supposed to question. I'm a sound training healing master. I teach and train it. The brain is most active, not when the notes are being played on the piano, but it's in between. There's more brain activity
wow.
in between the notes. So in the question and not the answer. So when we live in
Fascinating.
absolutes, like I know the answers, I
Yeah.
know this is the way it is, I know this is where we go after we die, I know that this is the one truth. The absolute is actually where we have the least amount of opportunity and the least amount of magic. So when we're in the doubt or we're in the question, we move beyond the shadow and we always move
Mm,
into the absolute. And the absolute, to me, the only absolute that we should ever live by is this: I will do my best with what I know at the time.
wow.
And that's enough.
I love your answer to that question. That's a lot of food for thought. So thank you so much. I'm going to throw out a few for fun questions that I like
Hey,
to
I
leave
have time, so you're
you
fine.
so our guests can get to know you. And I'm just looking for one, maybe two-word answer. So tell us your favorite book, first of all.
The Journey of Souls by Michael Newton. Have you read it?
Mm-mm.
I would
I
like to
hear
share with
so
you.
many books that my guests share with me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, another one to add to my list, another one, another one.
This book has changed my life, and I'd like to share why. Michael Newton was a hypnotherapist, I believe, in the 70s, and he asked people what happens after we die under hypnosis. And
Oh,
17,000 people said similar things. So they came from a wide variety of religions, even atheism. They came from a wide variety of cultures. They came from a wide variety of backgrounds and politics and upbringings. And under hypnosis, 17,000 of them said almost the same thing. So I
wow.
think that that is something to consider. If we were to say it's possible this is truth,
Hmm.
I would say that would be something to consider. So that is why it's one of my top 5 favorite
Nice.
books.
I love that. Definitely something to consider. Tell us, are you an introvert or an extrovert?
I'm an introvert.
Mm.
Yeah.
And are you a night owl or a morning lark?
I am a morning, and I actually thought I'm not really larking in the morning. I like to wake up early because it's dark. I like to wake up and be alone. It's often the only time of my day I am alone. And I try to watch the sunrise every
Nice. I
morning.
love that. Who is your favorite artist?
Georgia O'Keeffe.
Mm,
And it's not so much about her artwork. It's because she was a badass, the way
yeah,
she
she
lived.
was. She
Yeah.
was. Tell us your celebrity crush if you have
I
one.
don't have one.
You don't have one.
I don't really follow much. I was raised on
I am
black and
finding
whites.
that a common theme among these authors. It's
Mhm.
about half and half. Do you do still or carbonated water or diet soda or some other
I
beverage?
do water. In fact, I used to be a Dr. Pepperaholic, and I think 20 years ago, I
Let it
don't think
go.
I've drank soda for 20 years. Yeah.
That's probably for the best.
Mhm.
And finally, the furthest place that you've traveled.
I went to India to speak at the Women's
Mm,
Economic Forum in Delhi and do humanitarian work at the foot of the
wow,
Himalayas.
that is so cool, Katie. Don't tell me anymore because I just might get really jealous.
It was
Not really, but sort of
amazing.
actually, yeah, I would.
It was amazing. Yeah.
Wow, that is too cool. Good for you. Well,
Mhm.
if folks wanted to connect with you or reach out to you with questions and whatnot about your work, what would be the best way for them to do that?
The best way to find me is
Mm-hmm.
katiejodrum.com because, as I said, I was known for drum circles across the world.
Okay.
So
Just all one word.
katiejodrum.com is the easiest way to find me.
Great. We will leave that in the show notes as well as other information. So thank you, Katie.
Yeah,
It's been
thanks.
so good. I've loved this. You're a beautiful soul. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you. Thank you for your time. I love to be invited and asked, so thank you.
Writer, teacher, author, Mormon scholar, and founder of Dialogue Journal, Eugene England said, "My faith encourages my curiosity and awe. It thrusts me out into relationship with all creation and encourages me to enter into dialogue." As a proud member of the Dialogue Podcast Network, my hope is that Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast is an extension of that vision. Visit meganskidmorecoaching.com to find this podcast and additional free resources, including the link for a complimentary coaching session. Follow me on Facebook or Instagram for more or to send me a DM. Help the podcast grow. Please follow, review, and share with a friend.